Hey everyone, I will be reviewing the role of emergency management in planning and mitigating climate change and sea level rise. So, the impacts of climate change range from discrete events like extreme weather to long term impacts that vary by location, such as drought, regional energy vulnerabilities, increased wildfire, habitat modification, and emerging diseases. So, all over the United States, communities are working to increase their resilience against these hazards, and emergency management has means and reason to contribute to those efforts. As we've learned, the goal of emergency management is to protect life and property from all hazards. Like I mentioned, there are a lot of hazards associated with climate change. Therefore, the connection between these two disciplines is clear. Primarily, climate change increases the frequency of the disasters that emergency managers already deal with. So, emergency managers could benefit from reducing the effects of climate change because it will save them money, time, resources, um, as the consequences of hazards will be less severe. When it comes to planning, short term efforts will require the dedication of more resources in the response and recovery, but long term relief of disaster consequences will require an investment into mitigation. So, we know these four steps of emergency management, and climate change is best addressed during that mitigation process. So, as a refresher, mitigation refers to measures that prevent an emergency, reduce the chance of the emergency happening, or reduce the damaging effects of that emergency. So, typical mitigation measures in emergency management might be establishing building codes or zoning requirements or constructing barriers such as levees. So, mitigating climate change hazards doesn't really diverge much from these existing practices. FEMA has long recognized the overlap between the disciplines of emergency management and climate change, and the organization has a document on their website called FEMA Resources for Climate Resilience. There's a heavy focus on mitigation, of course, and the document emphasizes that change starts at the local level, which aligns with what we have learned in this course that the best pattern for implementation and emergency management strategy is bottom up. FEMA also emphasizes using nature based solutions, which are they include sustainable planning, design, environmental management, and engineering practices that weave natural features and processes into the built environment to promote adaptation and resilience. Such solutions enlist natural features and processes in efforts to combat climate change, reduce flood risks, improve water quality, protect coastal property, restore and protect wetlands, stabilize shorelines, reduce urban heat, add recreational space, and so on. To analyze it from the other direction, the field of climate science has done extensive work that can really progress the effectiveness of emergency managers. Emergency managers can use climate research data to target emergency mitigation, preparedness, and response actions for their communities. For example, organizations like the Southeast Florida Climate Compact provide different vulnerability analyses for cities across Florida. Their website has tools that display social vulnerability, and you can see a snapshot of that here. And they also provide access to studies that show the vulnerability of different areas to sea level rise or the impacts of climate sensitive hazards on certain areas. So, as emergency management is pushed to lead efforts to strengthen the adaptive capacity to climate change within local communities by identifying these risks and vulnerabilities, these tools could prove useful. So, moving forward, emergency managers should incorporate the short and long term effects of climate change in hazard vulnerability analyses, mitigation plans, and comprehensive planning in general. Emergency managers should begin fostering a collaborative, interdisciplinary process that uses peer reviewed research and engages professionals in order to build a foundation for community resilience. So these are my sources, and that's it.